The bright morning sun shone over New York City when the ships appeared. They came without warning. 12 crystal-like vessels, each the size of a cruise ship, breaking through the clouds. Their surfaces glittered like diamonds, but deep cracks ran across their hulls. Smoke poured from several wounds in their sides. On the ground, people stopped and stared. Traffic came to a halt. Phones came out to record the sight, and social media exploded with videos and photos. Within minutes, fighter jets screamed through the sky, circling the alien ships but not attacking. Inside the United Nations building, General Robert Wilson watched the scene from his office window. His phone hadn't stopped ringing since the ships appeared. The president, military commands, and intelligence agencies all wanted answers he didn't have. "Sir," his aide rushed in. "They're broadcasting a message. All frequencies." The message played through every radio, TV, and phone in the city. "People of Earth, we come seeking shelter. Our civilization faces extinction. Please, we mean no harm." The voice was calm and clear, speaking perfect English. What followed was the same message in other major languages. Within hours, the UN Security Council gathered for an emergency meeting. As they debated what to do, more reports came in. Similar ships had appeared over Beijing, Moscow, London, and other major cities. All carried the same damage, all broadcasting the same peaceful message. The aliens called themselves the Lumerians. Their ambassador, a tall being that looked like living crystal, stood before the Security Council. Its body glowed with soft blue light as it spoke. "We were once a peaceful and advanced civilization," the ambassador said. "We had colonies across 12 star systems. Now we are refugees. The ships you see hold the last of our kind. Barely 10,000 survivors." General Wilson studied the alien carefully. Its crystalline body showed signs of damage, with small cracks that matched the ones on their ships. "What happened to your people?" he asked. "The void swarm happened," the ambassador replied. The light within its body dimmed slightly. "They came without warning, consuming everything in their path. Our weapons, our shields, our most advanced technology. Nothing worked against them. We searched for help across hundreds of worlds, but found none who could stand against the swarm." The room fell silent. The world's most powerful leaders looked at each other with worry. If these advanced aliens couldn't defend themselves, what chance did Earth have? "Then why come here?" asked the Chinese representative. "Earth is far less advanced than your civilization." The ambassador's glow brightened slightly. "Because we detected something unique about your species, something that might be the key to survival. But first, we offer a trade. Sanctuary for our people, in exchange for our technology and knowledge." Debates raged for days. Scientists examined the alien ships, confirming their damaged state. Military leaders studied the aliens' weapons, amazed by their advanced state even when broken. Doctors examined the Lumerians, verifying they were indeed living crystalline beings. Finally, Earth's major powers reached an agreement. The Lumerians would be granted sanctuary, with their ships and people divided among several nations. In return, they would share their technology and help Earth prepare for what might come. As General Wilson watched Lumerian ships being escorted to secure facilities, he couldn't shake a feeling of unease. What makes humans so special? He wondered aloud. His question would be answered sooner than he expected. The void swarm was already on its way, and humanity's true strength was about to be tested. 3 months after the Lumerians arrived, General Wilson sat in a dimly lit conference room beneath the Pentagon. The holographic display in the center showed something that made his blood run cold, a massive dark cloud moving through space, consuming everything in its path. "This is the void swarm," said the Lumerian scientist, clear voice. Its crystalline body pulsed with dark blue light as it spoke. "We recorded this footage as they destroyed our third colony." The recording showed thousands of black, insect-like ships swarming around a crystal city built on an asteroid. Within minutes, the city went dark. The crystal structures didn't break. They simply turned black, as if infected by some cosmic disease. They don't just destroy, Clear Voice continued. They corrupt. They convert. Everything they touch becomes part of them. The alien's light flickered with what Wilson had learned to recognize as fear. Our technology made us especially vulnerable. The more advanced the system, the faster they could take control. Admiral Jones leaned forward, her face grim. How do they do it? The swarm operates as one mind spread across billions of bodies. They can interface with any advanced technology and turn it against its makers. Our quantum computers, our AI systems, our automated defenses, all became weapons in their arsenal. Wilson watched as more footage showed Lumerian ships firing on their own cities, their crystal crews helpless as their systems were overridden. Why didn't you just use simpler weapons? Clear Voice's body brightened slightly. By the time we considered that, it was too late. Our civilization depended entirely on advanced technology. We had no backup systems, no alternate methods. Everything was connected, automated, perfect, and perfectly vulnerable. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Earth's relatively primitive technology might actually be an advantage. Their nuclear weapons, while powerful, couldn't be hacked like quantum systems. Their ballistic weapons needed no computers to fire. How long? Wilson asked. How long until they reach Earth? Clear Voice projected a new image, a map of the galaxy. The black stain spread across one sector, with a thin tendril reaching toward Earth. Based on their past movement patterns, we estimate 8 months. Maybe less if they detect us here. And what makes you think we stand a chance? Admiral Jones asked. If your advanced civilization fell, why would Earth be any different? The Lumerian's glow turned almost white with intensity. Because your people have something we lost long ago. Neural chaos. Neural what? Wilson frowned. Your brains. Clear Voice projected an image comparing human and Lumerian neural patterns. Your thought patterns are unpredictable. Random. The swarm can't interface with human minds like they did with ours. We discovered this by accident when they tried to control the human crew of a trading ship. They failed completely. Hope flickered in Wilson's chest, but caution tempered it. So we're immune? Not immune, but resistant. Combined with your primitive technology and warfare methods, Clear Voice's light pulsed with what might have been excitement. You might be our last hope. The galaxy's last hope. Wilson stood up, his decision made. Then we better start preparing. And I have a feeling we're going to need a lot more bullets. The underground lab buzzed with activity as scientists from both species worked side by side. Dr. Lisa Cooper watched through a reinforced window as a soldier fired an ordinary rifle at a target. Next to it, a Lumerian weapon fired streams of energy. Both hit their marks perfectly. Fascinating, said Brightmind, the lead Lumerian researcher. Its crystal form glowed green with excitement. Your projectile weapons are so simple, yet so effective. Lisa nodded, reviewing the data on her tablet. No complex targeting systems, no energy signatures to hack, just basic physics and human skill. The tests have been running for weeks now. They discovered that while the Void Swarm could easily take control of energy weapons and smart bullets, they had no defense against simple lid projectiles. Even more surprising was what happened when they combined human and Lumerian technology. Watch this, Lisa said, pressing a button. Another soldier stepped up to the range, loading special ammunition they'd developed. The bullets were normal lead, but coated with Lumerian crystal compounds. The shot rang out. When the bullet hit the target, it exploded with both kinetic and energy damage. The target, made from captured Void Swarm material, didn't just break, it completely shattered. Your bodies are equally remarkable, Brightmind said, projecting a hologram of human DNA. The Void Swarm operates by finding patterns they can control. But human minds? The hologram shifted to show neural activity. They're beautifully chaotic. Lisa smiled. You mean we're unpredictable? Exactly. Where we sought perfection, you embraced variance. While we removed randomness, you thrived on it. Our ships had AI pilots. Yours still need human operators. We thought this made you primitive. We were wrong. Alarms suddenly blared through the facility. General Wilson's voice came over the speakers. All personnel to battle stations. We've detected void swarm scout ships at the edge of the solar system. Lisa's heart raced as she gathered her research data. They had expected more time, but maybe this was better. Humanity was as ready as they'd ever be. They're coming to finish what they started with us. Bright Mind said, its glow dimming to a worried blue. Are your people truly ready for this? Lisa thought about everything they'd learned. How human unpredictability made their tactics impossible for the swarm to counter. How their primitive weapons could bypass advanced shields. How their stubborn refusal to fully automate their weapons might save them all. We're ready, she said firmly. And we got something the swarm has never faced before. What's that? Lisa grinned as she watched soldiers loading crates of their new hybrid ammunition. The human factor. Sometimes the best solution isn't the most advanced one. It's the one that works. Above them, Earth's combined fleet of human and Lumerian ships prepared for battle. They carried no AI systems, no automated targeting, just human pilots and gunners, armed with weapons that bridged the gap between two civilizations. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin, and humanity's greatest weakness might prove to be its greatest strength. The desert air shimmered with heat as Captain Mark Thompson watched his unit train. They weren't using their normal rifles today. Instead, they fired weapons that looked like a cross between human and Lumerian technology. The sounds of gunfire mixed with the strange hum of crystal energy. Again, he shouted. Remember, 3-shot bursts. Let the crystal coating do its work. His soldiers had drilled for weeks now. The new hybrid weapons took some getting used to. They kicked like normal rifles, but had a strange energy pulse that followed each shot. The targets downrange showed the results. Clean holes surrounded by crystalline damage that spread like cracks in glass. Starwalker, their Lumerian advisor, floated nearby. Its crystal body glowed orange in approval. Your warriors learned quickly. The swarm won't expect this combination of technologies. Mark nodded, checking his tablet. Reports from around the world showed similar training operations. Russia had modified their tank shells with crystal components. China had done the same with their artillery. Even the old A-10 Warthogs were being upgraded, their massive guns now firing rounds that could tear through void swarm armor. Incoming transmission. Starwalker announced, its body projecting a hologram. General Wilson's face appeared, looking grave. They're moving faster than we expected, Wilson said without preamble. The swarm has already passed Mars. All units have less than 48 hours to complete preparations. Mark felt his heart rate increase but kept his voice steady. We're ready, sir. The men know what they're facing. Do they? Wilson's eyes were hard. We've never fought anything like this before. The Lumerians lost their entire civilization to these things. True, Mark said, watching his unit continue their drills. But they didn't have what we have. And what's that, Captain? Mark smiled grimly. Human stubbornness, plus a whole lot of bullets. The transmission ended, and Mark turned back to his troops. They weren't the most advanced army in the galaxy. Their weapons were hybrid versions of technology centuries behind the Lumerians. But maybe that's exactly what they needed to be. All units, he called out. Pack up and load out. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. As his soldiers moved with practiced efficiency, Starwalker approached him. Your people show no fear, it observed. Oh, we're scared, Mark admitted. But humans have a long history of being scared and fighting anyway. Above them, the sky was already darkening as Earth's combined fleets moved into position. Lumerian ships, stripped of their automated systems, and now piloted by humans, flew alongside Earth's vessels. They carried a mix of technologies: plasma weapons and railguns, energy shields, and thick armor plates. The next 48 hours would determine the fate of not just Earth, but countless other worlds. Humanity's first interstellar war was about to begin, and they were bringing plenty of old-fashioned firepower to the fight. The void between Earth and Mars turned into a battlefield. The void swarm arrived as a dark cloud that blocked out the stars. Thousands of black, insect-like ships moving as one massive organism. But Earth was ready. Admiral Rachel Hayes stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defender, watching as the enemy approached. Around her ship, the combined fleet of Earth and Lumerian vessels held position. Every ship had human crews, their computers stripped down to basic functions only. "They're scanning us," reported her tactical officer, "trying to hack our systems." Rachel allowed herself a small smile. "Let them try. Fire when ready." The first shots of humanity's greatest battle were fired with gunpowder and steel. Railguns mounted on Earth's ships fired massive slugs coated in Lumerian crystal. The projectiles tore through the swarm's front line, leaving trails of crystalline destruction. The swarm seemed to pause, as if confused. Their ships had expected energy weapons, shields, advanced targeting systems they could corrupt. Instead, they faced weapons that relied on simple physics and human aim. "Mom," her communications officer called out. They're retreating from the kinetic weapons, regrouping to try different tactics." Clear Light, their Lumerian advisor, glowed brightly. "Unprecedented. In all our battles, they never retreated. They're learning that their usual strategies don't work." The swarm attacked again, this time trying to overwhelm with numbers. But Earth's fleet had spread out in seemingly random patterns, another human touch that confused their hive mind tactics. When the enemy ships got close, they faced not just big guns but fighters piloted by humans who had trained their whole lives to fly by instinct. "Squadrons 3 and 4, engage at will," Rachel ordered. She watched as Earth's fighters dove into the battle, their hybrid weapons combining human and Lumerian technology in ways the swarm had never encountered. The enemy's black ships began to fall. Without the ability to hack Earth's weapons or predict human tactics, they suffered unprecedented losses. Their hive mind actually worked against them. When one ship found a tactic didn't work, they all repeated the same mistake. "They're pulling back," Clear Light announced, its crystal body pulsing with excitement. "Beyond Mars orbit, we actually drove them back." Rachel kept her eyes on the tactical display. The retreat wasn't complete. The swarm was regrouping, probably trying to analyze what had just happened. But they'd proven something crucial. Humanity could fight them, could hurt them. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. "First engagement successful. Enemy forces retreating, but they'll be back with new tactics. Request permission to pursue and maintain pressure." As she watched the enemy regroup, Rachel knew this was just the beginning. But humanity had done what the Lumerians thought impossible. They'd won the first battle against the Void Swarm. Sometimes, being less advanced had its advantages. Near Jupiter's orbit, humanity launched its first major offensive against the Void Swarm. Captain Mark Thompson stood at the helm of the hybrid warship Thunder, watching as Earth's fleet moved into position. The massive gas giant loomed behind them, its red spot glowing like an angry eye. "Multiple swarm signatures detected," his sensor officer reported. "They're using a new formation. Tighter groups, overlapping shields." Mark nodded. The enemy had adapted after their first defeat, but so had humanity. Launch operation scattered shot. Across the fleet, ships broke formation in what looked like chaos. But there was method in the madness. Earth's tacticians had studied old naval warfare, particularly the age of sailing ships. The swarm, used to precise formations and predictable patterns, couldn't comprehend the seemingly random movements. "All batteries, fire at will," Mark ordered. The space around Jupiter lit up with weapons fire. Traditional missiles and railgun rounds mixed with crystal-enhanced projectiles. Human gunners, trusting their instincts rather than computer targeting, scored hit after hit. The swarm is attempting to establish their hive link, reported Bright Star, their Lumerian advisor. But the random patterns are disrupting their coordination. Mark watched as the battle unfolded. Earth's ships fought like old seafaring vessels, crossing the enemy's T and delivering devastating broadsides. The swarm's tight formation, designed to maximize their collective intelligence, made them perfect targets. "Launch fighters," Mark commanded. "Tell them to hit and run. Keep them guessing." Squadrons of human pilots dove into the fray. They flew erratically, breaking every rule of proper space combat. The swarm couldn't predict their movements because even the pilots didn't know what they'd do next. "Sir," his tactical officer shouted, "the swarm. They're actually fighting each other." Mark leaned forward, watching in amazement. The enemy's hive mind, confused by human unpredictability, had started giving contradictory orders. Some ships tried to maintain formation while others broke ranks, resulting in collisions and friendly fire. "This is our chance," Mark said. "All ships, converge on their command node. Traditional weapons only. Let's show them how humanity fought wars before we had computers." The battle reached its peak as Earth's fleet closed in. The swarm, their greatest strength turned against them, began to break apart. Without their unified consciousness to guide them, individual ships fell easy prey to human tactics. As the last enemy ships retreated or were destroyed, Mark allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had proven that sometimes the old ways were the best ways. The Void Swarm's perfect coordination was no match for human chaos and determination. "Send word to Earth," he ordered. "The Jupiter sector is secure. We're ready to push them back further." The counterattack had succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity's primitive ways had their own kind of power. General Robert Wilson stood before the United Nations, just as he had 6 months ago when the Lumerians first arrived. But this time, he wasn't facing a crisis. He was announcing humanity's greatest triumph. "The Void Swarm has been driven from our solar system," he announced to thunderous applause. "Their remaining forces are in full retreat, their hive minds severely damaged by their encounters with human unpredictability." In the audience, both humans and Lumerians watched. The crystalline beings glowed with various colors of joy and amazement. Their race, once on the brink of extinction, had found not just refuge but champions. "But this victory isn't just for Earth," Wilson continued. "Already, we've received messages from 17 other civilizations seeking our protection. They've heard how human primitive warfare defeated the galaxy's greatest threat." On screens behind him, footage played showing the final battle. Earth ships, using tactics from ancient naval warfare, outmaneuvering the technologically superior enemy. Hybrid weapons, combining human simplicity with Lumerian crystal technology, tearing through swarm defenses. "The galaxy is changing," Wilson said. "For too long, civilizations believed that advanced technology was the answer to everything. They forgot the value of human insight, of instinct, of controlled chaos." Standing next to him, the Lumerian ambassador First Light glowed with brilliant white light. "We came to Earth thinking we would find primitive allies," it said. "Instead, we found teachers." The galaxy needed to remember what humanity never forgot, that the most powerful weapon is not a computer, but a mind that can think freely. The announcement continued with details of Earth's new role. Human Lumerian hybrid ships would patrol threatened systems. Earth would train other races in primitive combat techniques. The crystal technology of the Lumerians would be combined with human ingenuity to create new defenses. "We stand here today, not just as victors," Wilson concluded, "but as protectors. Earth is no longer a backwater planet. We are the defenders of those left defenseless, and we will not fail in this duty." As the ceremony ended, Wilson looked out at the crowd, humans and aliens together, celebrating not just victory but a new understanding. Sometimes the old ways were the best ways. Sometimes being primitive meant being free to think differently. The galaxy had gained new protectors, and if the Void Swarm ever returned, they would find not just Earth waiting for them, but a galaxy that had learned to fight back the human way, with determination, unpredictability, and plenty of old-fashioned firepower. Human civilization had proven that being less advanced wasn't a weakness. It was exactly what the galaxy needed to survive.